In the year 3019 of the Third Age, a decisive moment unfolded in the Shire, far removed from the epic battlegrounds of Gondor and Mordor. While the grand armies of men, elves, and dwarves reshaped the fate of Middle-earth, the hobbits of the Shire faced their own fight, a battle both humble and profound. The Battle of Bywater. Greetings, dear viewer, and welcome to the Shire. Though our land is known for its rolling hills, serene rivers, and the comforting scent of pipeweed, in those dark days, the tranquility of our homeland was shattered. Saruman, under the guise of Sharky, had taken root in our soil, his ruffians turning the gentle Shire into a place of tyranny. They seized our fields, chopped our trees, and silenced the joy of the Green Dragon Inn. But on a frosty morning, we took it back. Let me tell you the tale of that day from the perspective of a simple hobbit. Merimus Bracergirl, a farmer of Bywater, and my great-great-uncle. His story is one of courage, cunning, and the resolve of folk underestimated by the great powers of the world. It began, Merimas would often say, when Frodo Baggins and his friends returned from their long adventure. They spoke of strange lands and darker days, but it was their resolve that lit a fire in us. Though Frodo was the bearer of the ring, it was Samwise Gamgee, Merimas said, who rallied the spirits of the Shire folk. He brought tales of gardens ruined by the ruffians, and Rosy Cotton's fiery glares were enough to stir even the sleepiest hobbits into action. Gathering at Bywater, we were a mismatched bunch. Farmers, blacksmiths, millers, and cooks. Few of us had ever wielded a blade, but we had slings, pitchforks, and stout sticks. Courage is found in unlikely places, Merimas would muse. Indeed, it was. As dawn broke, the ruffians, a band of men used to terrorizing defenseless villages, assembled just outside Bywater. They were arrogant, believing us to be meek and unorganized. They had yet to see the fury of a hobbit protecting their home. Our leaders, Frodo, Sam, Merry, and Pippin, planned the ambush with care. Every farmer knows his fields, Merimas said, and we used them to outflank the enemy. Pippin, clad in a magnificent hauberk gifted by the men of Gondor, gave the call, and the ambush began. Hobbits sprang from hedgerows, their stones finding their mark. The chaos startled the ruffians, whose strength was in brute force, not strategy. The ruffians underestimated us. That was their first mistake, Merimus Bracegirdle used to say, leaning back in his chair with a pipe in hand. The Battle of Bywater was no grand clash of armies, but to those who fought it, it was as fierce and fateful as Helm's Deep. As the ambush began, the fields and hedgerows of Bywater came alive with hobbits. The ruffians, taken aback by our numbers and cunning, quickly found themselves surrounded. We weren't warriors, Merimus said, but we were defenders of our land, and that gave us the strength of giants. The heart of the battle lay on the main road leading into Bywater. There, the ruffians tried to regroup, brandishing their swords and shouting threats meant to terrify. But hobbits are stubborn folk. From behind garden walls and overturned carts, we pelted them with stones and arrows from small bows. One might laugh at the thought, but a hobbit's aim is deadly precise. Few ruffians escaped unscathed. At the forefront stood Merry and Pippin, their courage inspiring us all. Pippin wielded a blade gifted by the men of Gondor, and Merry carried his sword from Rohan. It was they who charged the ruffians when our slings and stones had done their work. Though taller than most hobbits after their time abroad, they fought with the same fierce determination as any farmer defending his field. The noise was terrible, Merimus would recount. The clash of steel, the shouts of the ruffians, and the rallying cries of hobbits. But through it all, Frodo's voice rang clear. No unnecessary killing, he said. He wanted justice, not vengeance. This command of Frodo set the tone for the battle. We fought fiercely, but with restraint, seeking to drive the ruffians away rather than slaughter them. Still, there were casualties. Will Whitford, the former mayor of Mitchell Delving, took a nasty cut to the arm. and poor Hob Haywood, a sheriff, was felled defending his post. The turning point came when Samwise led a group of hobbits in a daring flank attack. Sam, who had faced the fires of Mount Doom, showed no fear in the face of the ruffians. With the hobbits surrounding them, the ruffians began to falter. Their leader, a cruel man called Ted Sandyman's accomplice, tried to rally them, but it was too late. The Shire folk, united and unyielding, pushed them back. By midday, the ruffians had surrendered or fled. Saruman's grip on the Shire was broken. But the cost was heavy. Though victorious, the hobbits had lost friends and family, and the scars left by Sharky's rule would linger for years. When the last of the ruffians had fled, a strange quiet settled over Bywater. Victory was ours, yet it came with an unexpected weight. For hobbits who value peace and comfort above all, the battlefield was a stark reminder of the cost of freedom. In the aftermath of the battle, the Shire folk gathered to account for the fallen and tend to the wounded. Even in victory, Merrimus Bracegirdle would say, "There's sorrow. It's the price you pay for protecting what you love." Among the dead lay both hobbits and ruffians. True to Frodo's wishes, those ruffians who surrendered were not slaughtered, but sent away, banished from the borders of the Shire. This act of mercy set the hobbits apart from their enemies and upheld the values Frodo had fought to protect. The road to Bywater bore the scars of conflict: broken carts, scorched grass, and hastily dug graves. Yet, amidst the devastation, a sense of unity emerged. For the first time in years, the Shire stood together, Merrimas noted. It wasn't just the farmers of Bywater or the sheriffs of Michael Delving who had fought. It was everyone. From Tookland to Buckland, hobbits of all kinds had risen up to reclaim their homeland. But the real challenge lay ahead. The Shire had been ravaged under Saruman's rule, its fields stripped bare and its trees felled. The Green Dragon Inn, once a symbol of hobbit cheer, had been turned into a grim barracks. Yet, even as the villagers mourned, Samwise Gamgee reminded them that recovery was possible. "The soil remembers," he said, "and it'll heal, if we help it." Sam set to work, using the soil from Lothlorien and the gift of Galadriel, a small box of magical earth, to restore the Shire. His efforts transformed the land, and within a year the fields were flourishing once more. The Malorn tree he'd planted in Hobbiton became a living symbol of resilience and hope. The battle also marked a turning point in Hobbit society. Those who had fought in Bywater were no longer seen as mere farmers or shopkeepers. They were heroes. The tales of their bravery spread across the Shire, and for the first time, hobbits began to see themselves not as small folk of little importance, but as a people capable of great deeds. Yet, Frodo Baggins was not among those who celebrated. Though the Shire had been saved, his time with the ring had left wounds that could not heal. It was a bittersweet moment, Merrimas would say. We won back our home, but Frodo, he seemed to carry a sadness that even the Shire couldn't lift. This was the legacy of the Battle of Bywater, a land reclaimed, a people awakened, and a hero quietly fading into legend. The Battle of Bywater, fought on November 3rd in the year 3019 of the Third Age, was not just a local skirmish. It was the final recorded battle of that age, and an emblem of resistance against tyranny. In its quiet way, it echoed the grander struggles of Middle-earth, where the smallest and seemingly weakest stood against forces far greater than themselves. For Merrimus Bracegirdle and the other combatants, the battle was personal, a fight for hearth, home, and kin. Yet, within the larger tapestry of Middle-earth's history, it symbolized the enduring spirit of hobbits and their capacity for extraordinary deeds. Though they were never warriors by trade, the hobbits' courage at Bywater proved they could rise to the occasion when their peaceful way of life was threatened. This battle also served as a poignant conclusion to Saruman's tragic fall. Once the head of the White Council and a wise leader among the Istari, Saruman had descended into cruelty and pettiness. His hold over the Shire was not an act of grand strategy, but a spiteful lashing out after his defeat at Isengard. By his own choice, he sealed his fate. When Frodo, ever merciful, offered him a chance to leave peacefully, Saruman refused. His death at the hands of his servant Grima Wormtongue marked the final chapter of his long decline, a sobering reminder of the corrupting nature of power and pride. Yet for the Hobbits, the Battle of Bywater was more than a military victory. It was a reawakening. Before this, the Shire had always been insulated from the wider world, its people blissfully unaware of the great struggles shaping their fate. But with Frodo and his companions' return, the Shire learned that even the most idyllic corner of Middle-earth was not immune to the tides of change. The battle was a catalyst, reminding the Hobbits of their strength and the importance of safeguarding their way of life. In the grander narrative, the battle also serves as a reflection of Tolkien's own views. The professor, who had lived through 2 world wars, imbued the Hobbit struggle with themes of resistance, resilience, and the power of ordinary folk. It was a tale not of kings or mighty warriors, but of common people taking a stand against oppression. Through their victory, Tolkien celebrated the quiet heroism of those who fight for their homes and loved ones, even when the odds seem insurmountable. And so, the Battle of Bywater remains a tale both humble and profound, a final testament to the enduring spirit of Middle-earth's smallest heroes. As Frodo, Sam, Merry, and Pippin faded into the annals of legend, the Shire they fought to save continued to thrive, a land of peace preserved by the courage of its people.